All right, Shalom. First and foremost, let me give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem HaKakodash. Double honors the apostles, and as a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. All right, this is Hebrews 12 and 1, and it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses." All right, what's that talking about? So great a cloud of witnesses. You know, when you read Hebrews 11, all right, it's talking about different characters in the Bible that have witness and testimony of the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. See, Hebrews 11 and 21 says, "By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandment concerning his bones. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Yahushai greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover and sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them." So, all these witnesses we read about in the scriptures, all right, of those that have abode in the fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and witnessed the great wrath and the great mercy of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. And even we're witnesses, you know, um, of the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai through this faith, through this truth. All right. It says, "Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." All right. Patience meaning to endure. All right. To endure in righteousness. All right. As it tells you in the scriptures, to order your way right and constantly endure. All right. It says, "Looking unto Yahweh Shai." All right. Which that's what we do. All right. We lean upon Yahweh Shai. All right. Because as it tells you in the scriptures, there's no one other name that you could call upon whereby you would be saved. And Yahweh Shai, he was perfect. He fulfilled, the will of the Most High, his Father, perfectly, man. Even to the point that, it tells you in the scriptures, he laid down his own life. All right. He said nobody making him do what he did. That his life was his to lay down. He did it willingly. That's why Howard Shai said, I could call on my Father right now, and angels would come down and get me. He could have just dipped out. Like you have certain characters that dipped out. He could have just dipped out, and then we would have been through. It says, "Looking unto Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High." So he completed the mission. That's why, you have certain individuals that were teaching certain erroneous things, such as Yahweh Shai was just a regular dude, just a regular Israelite. That's not true, man. All right. Nobody on the earth has free will. Okay. But what did Yahweh Shai say? He said, I give up my life willingly. All right. We can't do that. We can't decide what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. All right. But Yahweh Shai, he chose to do the will of his Father. All right. Just like that's what we have to do. The will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. In order to stay in the truth. All right. In order to stay in the Lord's mercy and the Lord's grace, we have to do these things. All right. We have to follow Yahweh Shai. So it says, looking unto Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. Right. It said, you have not resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. All right? Because, the Lord could rebuke you. All right? The Lord can find fault in you. It says, for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If you endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then you are bastards and not sons. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subject unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. So when you go through things, all right, it's for your profit. All right, it's to sharpen you. It's to get you in the right mind state so that you don't be destroyed, man. So that you don't go off. So that you don't sin. So that you don't get, destroyed with these people out here, all right, that aren't in the faith, that aren't doing the right thing, that aren't seeking Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai and his righteousness. All right? Because it tells you, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? All right? It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, after it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. All right? It says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. All right? So, yeah. You gotta look diligently. As it says in the scriptures, be diligent to make your calling and election sure. All right, and that diligence is gonna protect you. All right, that diligence is gonna keep you safe. All right. So you just gotta do what you gotta do. As it says in the scriptures, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. which is what you have to do. So hopefully that's edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles, and those a great millstone. Shalom to hopefully elect.